What's going on, peeps? It's Wrath here, hanging out today playing some more Clash of Clans, and today we're going to do things a little bit different. I normally like to go out and do all of my attacks live. Unfortunately, today I was just kind of sitting on the couch chilling, and I was like, I need to knock out a farming sesh, and so I just kind of started doing it, and dear God, it was amazing. It was the best loot I've ever seen, and I was like, man, why wasn't I recording for this? Well, that's the good thing about replays. They're still there. So we're going to try to do some replays today instead of live attacks. I prefer live attacks, don't get me wrong. I like to hear what's going on in the moment, but hey, we're going to have to do it this way today because it's already been done. A couple things to note before we jump into this. This was the first day I've ever actually used the Dragbat army. I like it. I do like it. But during the course of the video, our king is, of course, knocked out and unconscious, don't have him to rely on, and in every attack we don't have siege machine. Well, not in every. We don't have a siege machine in every attack. That's the better way to put it. Because I can't always reliably get them when I'm farming, so we don't always have one of those. But let's go ahead, jump into the replays, and see how things go. Alright guys, so here's the first raid. Now, this is actually the first raid I ever did with Dragbat, so I have no previous experience with the army other than what other people have done and I've seen. I've never actually dropped one. So this is my what I call confidence building attack. I always pick a base that I think's a little bit easier, that I shouldn't have a lot of struggles with. In this case, a dead base that's not well upgraded. It's got the level 7 air defenses still, which is great. It's got, I think, level 12 archer towers instead of 13s. And all the expos and infernos are obviously dead. This is my confidence builder, okay? So the first thing I noticed when I'm trying to do anything with dragons is I've got to know where the sweepers are, because sweepers absolutely wreck your dragons. If you're fighting into those suckers, it's a huge pain in the butt. So we've got two sweepers here, and unfortunately they're both in kind of the middle of the base, pointing into the base. So there's really no side you can attack the base from that you're not going to be fighting a sweeper as well, unless you take a sweeper out with your kind of initial funneling push. So that's my game plan. I see this air defense and this is really close together, so I figure if a dude comes in with a siege machine, which I do have in this raid, boop, lucky me, got a wall wrecker, and my queen, I can probably knock out both of these defenses at once, and that's going to take out one of the air defenses I have to deal with, as well as the sweeper, and then I can kind of push in from the back side of the base and never have to worry about this sweeper at all, and it should go hunky-dory. That's the game plan. So let's see how game plan rolls. Alright, starting things out, siege machine coming in, looking beautiful, got the queen back there behind it. Luckily, he didn't have a lot of trash around the outside edges here, so I didn't have to worry about my queen really wandering on me. She's gonna go in, there's really no way else she can go. If there would have been, I do have a baby dragon here I can kind of help the funnel along with, a couple minions if need be. Obviously a BK would be far superior. We got lucky though, the siege wrecker went right through, got into where it was supposed to go. I was kind of worried it got hung up a couple of times, but it did exactly what it needed to do. Got into the base, it was empty actually, I didn't have anything in it, because I didn't have any troops yet, so I was like, we'll roll with it anyway. The queen luckily gets in there, takes out the sweeper, an archer tower, does a little bit of work as well. I don't know if she gets this expo or not. I think she does. She does, right before she eats it and dies. Now, normally what I would do, once I have a portion of the base carved out like this, is I would try to set up some kind of funnel, whether it be with my loons or my minions, whatever I can do, in the next area and kind of push in where I've got a decent funnel. But in this case, I want to come in back here, so that kind of push wasn't really to funnel my dragons as much as it was to get the sweeper out. So I'm going to come in over on this side, because I know I can't, ain't no dealing with a sweeper on that side, and it's going to be beautiful. So I've got to set up some kind of mediocre funnel over here. The option was I could use baby dragon or my dragon up here. I went ahead and used the baby dragon down here, just because I didn't want my baby dragon to get stuck on this dude, because for some reason, my dragons always did oh, is that a BK? Let's chase it around the base for an hour. And it's bad news for me. But we've got a decent funnel actually set up here anyway. We should be able to get the dragons to push in pretty easily. Here they come, all big and awesome and great. Got some balloons coming in as well on the back side of it. We've got one rage here, gonna be beautiful. Another rage over here, really help those balloons push through that first part of the base. And I'm kind of wondering, where do I want my bats to come in at, right? Because this is, like I said, the first time I've ever dropped the army, so I'm still kind of trying to hammer through the deployment steps as it's happening. But luckily on this base, I could drop my bats literally anywhere, and I would be okay. The only thing that really can deal damage to my bats right now is this wizard tower, and it's kind of in a crap storm. Like, it's not gonna survive, and nothing else can really damage them. So I could drop them anywhere I wanted. I could bat bomb the air defense. I could just push them in up here. It doesn't matter. What I end up doing is I drop my bats in a viscerally type area because I want them to come up, sweep through some of these defenses, and kind of keep my dragons pushed in that are over here. I don't want them to kind of come down and work their way around. And it works out all right. The bats spread apart a little bit, knock out some defenses. It's going great. One thing I didn't know is level 3 bat spells are like absolute butthole garbage compared to, like, was it level 5s they max at or something? It's ridiculous how many more bats you get in a level 5 spell. But either way, the bats managed to get all the way up there, get the air defense down. All we have left in this base is an Archer Tower, a Tesla. There's 2 bats still hammering away down there because they're freaking champs. They give no crap. So as you can tell, this base is going down. It was an easy base to start with. I felt good. Had an extra freeze left over because I didn't need it for my bats. And I was pretty happy, not gonna lie about things. Didn't end up using my Clan Castle freeze either, so I didn't have to use either of those spells, which made me feel good. And that's always nice when you're going into your attack, to feel good after your first attack. But the loot was really good, 700,000 each, almost 4,000 dark. It was hot. So let's get into the next replay and see how it goes. Alright guys, so this is the next base. We're ramping it up a little bit, but we're still keeping it a little bit easier as well. I don't want to go into a live base because I'm not really super confident in my deployment steps, but this is another dead base. However, this one's actually upgraded to the max for a Town Hall 10, other than the heroes are a little under-leveled. It's got the level 8 air defenses, got the level 13 archer towers, everything's pretty maxed. The sweepers, again, are in annoying positions. So these sweepers, for the base, facing each other, there's really no approach you can make on any side of the base that negates a sweeper. You're going to fight one eventually unless you can kill one early. So that's my thought. I said, hey, it worked before, maybe we can take it out again. I do have a wall wrecker again, which is just fantastically lucky. I love having them suckers. When you have a siege machine, it's kind of OP. But anyways, I'm looking at the base. He's got pretty exposed air defenses. On these ones right here, I think a queen can stand in the corners and shoot these air defenses out with a queen walk. But I said, hey, I want to get to this sweeper, maybe this queen. If I come with my siege machine on this side of the base, I can get at least some decent value out of my queen. She's going to knock out hopefully an air defense with a siege machine with her. If I get lucky, I can probably knock this out as well. And then my plan is to take my dragons down here, push in, and loot my way around the base this way. That's the initial game plan. So we start things out with the siege machine coming in. Boop, smacking down an army camp because army camps suck. Got the queen down as well. I don't want my queen to go north on me, so I put my baby dragon up here to kind of help knock out some of that trash and hopefully push her in. And for once, my queen obeys my wishes and says, I'll go in with you. Thank you, queen, you freaking turd. This time, all is well. All is well in River City. She's doing great. We do have a dragon and balloons in the wrecker this time, and it actually works out really well. So the queen puts a beat down on that sucker, comes out, the balloons are end up taking out this right me, boom, and the dragon burns down the enemy queen. So I was like, hey, this is going better than I had hoped to even start with. We got more value than I hoped to get. My troops still going pretty strong, and the queen's still actually taking a bit of a walk here, and she's not dead yet. So she's getting kind of hammered on, not real bad though. Gonna pop her ability here soon when she starts getting targeted again. Boop, there it goes. And she's actually gonna take down this second air defense. Now this is where my brain was like, uh-oh. Because my plan was, I didn't plan my queen to actually make it this far. She was supposed to be dead already. Okay, she wasn't. So when that air defense went down, there's really no reason for me to push my dragons in on this side of the base. I mean, I do have a good funnel started over there, but there's nothing dangerous over there anymore. I'm not pushing into an air defense or anything, so I figure, hey, maybe I should come up here instead with my dragons, use my bats to target the other air defense, and there's nothing left in this base that can really damage my dragons anymore. So the plan had to change halfway through the fight, which it's a good trait to be able to do. I'm not super great at it, but sometimes it works out for me, is being able to swap your plan mid-battle, because sometimes your funnel does not go the way you wanted it to. Sometimes, in this case, it goes better than you planned. In either case, you should probably adjust the back end of your attack to make sure that you're getting the best out of your army. So here we come in with the dragons. They're burning their way through the base, got our rage spell down, and obviously my dragons are not going to be making it over to this air defense. They're pushing directly into this one and directly behind this sweeper. So that's where my bats are going to come in over here. Gonna knock this sucker out. There's nothing really dangerous on this side either other than one wizard tower. And I know I've got the freezes. I can keep that wizard tower from shooting my bats. And wouldn't you know it, the bats come through, get the freeze down the wizard tower. Those level 7 freezes are disgusting, by the way. Go ahead and double freeze it, because I didn't know if that would last long enough. It's a good thing I did, because we barely had enough time that way. But these bats are just chewing through the rest of this base, eating it down like no one's business. Coming back to this final Tesla here, dead. And there it is. We've got we have, what, 7 dragons up right now? Absolutely insane. 3 balloons left, an entire swarm army of bats. Didn't have to use my second rage spell even, so this base absolutely crumbled. Was it dead? Yes. But again, this is a really nice confidence booster. I've seen 2 attacks now where I've hit bases. This one at least was pretty decently upgraded, and we had a huge army left over at the end. I was like, hey, that's nice. That feels good. Daddy like it when things go well. So we're going to try to ramp things up from here and start hitting bases that aren't dead and obviously are alive. The loot, again, though, absolutely stupid good loot today. It only gets better from here, believe it or not. But that was just disgusting loot. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Freaking great attack. Let's move to the next one and show that one off too. Alright peeps, here we are at the next attack. Now, you might say, Wrath, this base is easier than the last one. It is and it isn't. For me, an active base, even if it's lower upgraded, is always more of a challenge to beat than a dead base that's, well upgraded. Because in this case, I've got some Infernos to deal with. I've got 3 up Expos, which if you don't know, up Expos take your bats and they poo all over their souls, and it's bad news bears for you. The air defenses are a little bit lower, so it does make things easier. The Archer Tower is obviously not as upgraded as well, but it is a live base, so there is traps to worry about, things of that nature. In this one, we go in. Now, here's the thing. First thing I always look for, where the ball is this dude's sweeper. Boom, boom. Right here. This sweeper points down and covers this chunk of the base, which is a pretty big chunk of the base. So I don't really want to make any entrance that comes from either of these sides and be fighting a sweeper unless I can kill it early in the fight, and I don't have a siege machine to push in on this base and make sure I can get that out. So the safer attack, since this points up this way and is largely wasted, I would think this would be better placed down here maybe, pointed up that way, helping cover the backside of this sucker. But luckily he had it in a bad spot, so I can make 2 entrances. I could either push in from here really easily and then probably end up fighting this sucker as I'm coming this side, or the better bet is come in on this side with my dragons and only have to fight a little bit of this sweeper, and this one's going to be largely useless. So let's get our funnel down, and luckily this guy has little lower level defenses, so I can push these balloons in and knock out this Archer Tower, and what that does for me is it allows me to get my queen down and have very little damage coming in on her, which is great. When you don't have healers or a good tank for your queen, being able to knock out something with your balloons that's going to damage her pretty heavily gives her more time to operate, and I'm hoping I can get enough operation out of my queen that she'll walk down here and be able to take down this air defense, because it's the only air defense other than this one over here that's placed in such a way that you can shoot it over the walls with your Archer Queen. So at this point, I'm a little worried, but luckily my queen's little spawned archers down here are tanking that cannon for her, and she does absolutely step up, knock out that air defense, and I'm like, hey, things are going well. I like it when things go well. So now all I've got to do is set up the back side of my funnel. In this case, we're going to have a baby dragon coming up here. Boop. To knock out this sucker. A minion as well, I think I'm going to get up here to knock out this. Weirdest pathing for a minion ever. It's like, oh, I'm over here. Let's go on this side of the camp. Like, you can just run straight at it. Minions do that to me, and it always vexes me. Always. But now we've got a pretty good funnel into the base with our dragons. Dropping our dragons down like so. Pushing in. Things are going hot. We've got 2 rages to come into this single Inferno. We also got a freeze if we do need it. So first rage goes down. Our balloons are tanking for our dragons, which is beautiful. Big freeze over here on a lot of damage, which is great. When you can get a freeze on a lot of defenses at once, it's nice to do. And here is where I would say I made my mistake in the raid. Normally you don't want to run your bats into or behind. There's an air mine getting ready to blow up one of my dudes. You don't want to run your bats into where your air troops are if you can avoid it, because if a red mine pops up on any of these units and my bats are nearby, they're going to go poof real fast. And that's one thing that's nice about watching your raids back, is you can see where you made mistakes. In this case, it would have been a much smarter idea to take my bats and drop them right down here. I still have a freeze to cover something, and if they push in this way, they're safe all the way up through all this business. I can freeze this chunk right here and maybe even get to that air defense with my bats. But alas, I did not do it that way. We came in like this, and I dropped the freeze on the Inferno as it freaking died. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. My bats do swarm a decent chunk of this base, run into that wizard tower down there and kind of mowed through, but they still got decent value. Like I said, you don't really want to run your bats behind your air army, just because, like I said, all it takes is one red air bomb and all your bat spells like, oh, wasted camp space, which is bad news. But we've got one air defense still up here. We've got quite a few dragons on the board still. What, 3, 6 of them? That's a decent chunk of dragons. But this air defense is going to come back and kind of bite me in the butt here, shooting on my dragons, knocks this one out. But I think we've got enough dragons here that there's nothing it can really do. It's only one level 6 air defense. But if this had been a more maxed out base, I think my bat spells might have been my undoing in getting a 3-star, because I think a big air defense or something would have been able to pick off a lot more dragons and hurt me. But luckily on this one, didn't come down to that. The loot, again, just absolutely dumb. Nearly 1,000,000 gold, almost 900,000 elixir, only 4K dark, but 4K dark is still 4K dark. Let's move on, and I think it's time to show a little bit of a fail action, because, like I said, you learn from when you make mistakes, and in this one we made a little bit of a mistake with our bats, and next time, oh yes, you'll see, you'll see. Alright guys, so here we are at the next raid. As you can see, it is an absolute monster of a raid, 1,000,000 each, 7,000 dark, active base, sweeper pointing up, sweeper pointing down, where I always look to first. And in this raid, I didn't have a siege machine, so I was already kind of worried about how am I going to set my funnel, and how am I going to get out this air sweeper, because either way I attack this base, when I'm coming in like this or coming in from up here, I'm going to be fighting into a sweeper. Now, I could have maybe pushed in from up here or down here and done okay. Hindsight's 2020. But I kind of wanted to push in from the top and push in. Just that was my brain plan at the time, I guess. So I had to get rid of a sweeper, and I didn't know any great way to do it with the way I had my army trained up without my siege machine. So I figured, hey, a feller can bat bomb, right? People do bat bombs. Oh, my bat bomb's fantastic. All right. So I'm pretty much amazing at bat bombing. As you can see, here comes the rage, boop, over a big chunk of defenses. Now, if my brain had been more than, I don't know, better than stupid, I'd have noticed there's only a certain amount of 2x2 gaps in this entire base, and they're all right here. You're gonna see how bad that screws a feller in about 4 seconds. All 4 of the dude's Teslas come up. I'm freaking out. I forgot to drop my freeze before I dropped my bat, so I panic dropped both of my freezes. I'm like, oh balls. This is not good news, and it wasn't. So we lose a freaking buttload of spell space. Everything but one rage just went into this attack to get all of 2 Teslas, a sweeper, and a mortar. So I'm at this point, I'm like, oh god, oh no, this is gonna go poorly. So I've got to try to salvage this raid somehow. So the only thing I can do is I've already knocked out the sweeper, so I'm kind of committed to hitting it from this side now, because there's no reason to come in down here or anything. So I start to set my funnel with a baby dragon up top, knock out a couple of these buildings, because at this point, I'm just kind of, I'm pooping myself a little bit. Get the queen over here to funnel out this side of things. In hindsight, maybe I should have dropped her more toward this side so she would have worked down. But she did kind of push up, and I was like, oh, it's not what I wanted you to do, queen. But at this point, it's my fault. It's not her fault. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's just a queen, okay? But the queen takes down this, and I'm thinking, if she goes after this, I'm in trouble. But she didn't. She actually come back down, got to knock out that super damagey archer tower, and then unfortunately, the queen in her infinite wisdom decides to target a wall. Freaking awesome. But now, I've got to get into this base. I want to get this single inferno down as fast as possible, so I'm going to try to clean some of this trash and direct target my dragons into this. Now, they are going to target this Tesla because it's closer, but it's okay. I feel like we can make that work. I've only got one rage here, so I've got to cover as much of the big dangerous stuff, these 2 air defenses, as I can. And so I'm pushing in. I'm pushing in with, for all I'm worth. I've already used my only spell for the attack. Things are scary mode. They're all sketch right now. We do get the second Inferno down, but my dragons are fizzling at an alarming rate. They're all up there getting hammered on by these air defenses. It's not looking beautiful. In almost no time, my dragon army goes from an army to a few peasant stragglers. And that's what we're down to now. Couple balloons, couple dragons, just kind of burning our way through a little bit more of this loot. But there's a fail, and I think it's important to showcase things like that, because that's how you learn. I mean, you can watch all the 3-star hits you want to watch in a day, but it's when you make a big mistake that teaches you to not to make that mistake again. So as you can see, this dragon's getting kind of blown around the outside of the base, nabbing a little bit more loot for me as he goes. He ends up dying, as things do. I managed to miss all 4 of this dude's gold storages and still walk out with 739,000 gold. Don't ask me how that's possible, but I managed to pull it off. I'm pretty amazing. I do cool things. But still, a fantastic loot raid for a terrible, horrible, awful beginning. So if you're going to bat bomb, don't do it like I did it. I wasted all of my spell space and got almost no value out of it. It really hurt my soul, but learning experiences. Alright peeps, we're back with our final raid of the day. This is probably the hardest base I hit all day in my farms. It's got double single infernos deep in a core that also has a nice little moat around it, which is really annoying for dragons or any kind of like P.E.K.K.A.s. Anything that kind of targets any building will get kind of sucked into this ring, and that's really annoying. But pretty max level heroes, 2 centered sweepers, a buttload of freaking loot, a mil each, almost 8,000 dark. I was like, there's no way I'm next in this base. We're going in. We're going in hard. And I noticed immediately there's 2 really big flaws in this guy's base, and it was great for me. Okay, so first up, his sweepers leave pretty much this entire swath of base unprotected, which is great. The second thing I've noticed that was bad about his base is all these air defenses here are placed properly. I would say for an air defense, there are at least 4 tiles from the outside wall, so you can't snipe them with an Archer Queen. All but this poor air defense right down here. For some reason, he left that this wall just one too far in, which is great for me because it allows me to push my Archer Queen in and start hammering this sucker off and start my funnel, which is beautiful because I need a good funnel to get into this core, and it's on the right side of the base for that as well, so it really worked out in my favor here. No siege machine again, so we just kind of roll with what we've got. I tried a 2 balloon drop over here to take out this cannon so it wasn't shooting at my Archer Queen. Should have dropped 3 in hindsight. Didn't make a good choice there. But that's not it. That's not the end of my great decision making. I drop a baby dragon in. Did not think it would float its way into the air defense range. Of course it does. Still leaves the cannon up. So I'm like 20 space invested into that cannon. So I dropped the minion to make sure to just kill it off. But the queen does get the air defense, also knocks out this archer tower, and we've got a pretty nice little funnel area here for the dragons. They're not really going to push this way, and that's great. But now we're into a second part of the problem is, how do I make the second side of my funnel? I don't have a wrecker. I can't just push in and break things. I've got to somehow get enough buildings down that I can force my dragons in. And this is where I notice there's a lot of defenses right here. Absolute buttloads. And I've got balloons. And this is one thing I like about having balloons in a dragon attack, is you don't necessarily have to run them in front of your dragons to soak up bombs and mines. You can run them and kind of help funnel. In this case, that's exactly what I do here. I drop my balloons down here to knock out these. I even invest a rage spell in it because I know if this funnel does not go well, if I don't get these buildings down, drop a freeze also to get that air defense down. But I know if that funnel fails, the attack is going to go horribly bad because my dragon's going to wander on me. It's going to be horribly bad news. But we get a huge chunk carved out here, and all we have now are these 2 storages to push us straight into the center of the village. And here we go. Here we go in. I've got a rage. I've got my bat spell still. And this is where I kind of throw a risky play out because I don't really know what all is in his core, other than I know he's got 3 up expos and a single inferno is going to eat all over my dragons if I let him. So I figured, hey, maybe I'll drop my bats right in here with my dragons to take out as much of this core as I can as fast as possible. I got really lucky. There was no red air mines in there, and we actually gutted that core. Unfortunately, the one thing I had never planned for, a Tesla wall. I figured if anywhere his Tesla wall would be over here by his dark storage. No, he puts them over here. So my dragons end up taking that Tesla wall bait and running outside. My initial plan was once they got to the core and they gutted it, they would kind of push out. These air defenses are pretty close buildings toward the outside of the core, and if I could gut those fast enough, I had like 8 dragons come out of the core, we'd be good to go. You know, we would have had probably a 3-star. But unfortunately, I took that Tesla and all of them ran around this way, and our dragon split too far. We got an air defense up still, and there's just no freaking way our 3 dragons, even as awesome as they are going to be able to finish all of that out. But, you know, what the crap? You can't win them all with 3 stars. And I got, like I said, I just couldn't believe he had all 4 Teslas on that side of his base. I don't know, I didn't get his Archer Queen and his Dark Storage over here. I was literally, like, banking on the fact they would all four be back here on this side, protecting his Dark and his Queen. Couldn't have been more wrong. Still managed to walk out of that raid, though, with over 1 million elixir, nearly 900,000 gold, and over 6,000 dark. An absolutely stupid good raid. Didn't get the 3, unfortunately, but hey, this is the first I've ever used Dragbat. I felt pretty good about how everything turned out, and it went pretty well. We made a lot of freaking damages happen, and I'm happy with that. Okay, we got some good 3 stars, not always on the hardest of bases, but on some of the harder bases, I feel like I did pretty well for a first day at it, especially not having my king awake and being short siege machines. I feel like with siege machines, a lot of those would have gone much more smoothly, because I could have made my fun a little easier, but there we go. That was all the raids for the day. We do have, I guess, we've got a lot of loot to burn. I've got a bunch of crap I need to get out of these deals. I got a Rune of Dark I need to take out of here. I got Dark Elixir, obviously, as well. But, oh my gosh, I got loot all over the freaking place. I've got all kinds of money. It's ridiculous. Oh my, I haven't even got a rune in there. This is ridiculous. I've got stuff everywhere. But also, I know I have some books back here. I've got a book of fighting and a book of spells. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to jump in here. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this spell up, because why the ball's not. Get my goblins going in there. It's the last troop upgrade I have to do. Get those goblins in. Go ahead and book those goblins finished like bam. It's only max level troop I have. Look at me. I'm amazing. Got max level gobos. I'm pretty much OP. Also got some max spells, whatever. The only thing we have left to upgrade right now is skeleton spells. And I'll be honest with you, I've only used like 1 in my entire life. So we're going to get it upgrading, because why the ball's not. Get up there. But at the same time, I need to go ahead and I guess we can save off on using a Rune of Dark Elixir. The King's not awake yet. I mean, I could gem him awake or use my book, but why would I waste a book? I guess I could gem him up. It's only 95 gems. King, you want to be awake? Sure you do. Oh my gosh, look, my King's awake. We're going to just go ahead and jump in here, and I've got a Rune of Dark Elixir. Might as well use it. Bam. Ooh, 173,000 Dark Daddy-like. Daddy-like mucho. How much do you take to upgrade? 112. What does that leave us with? 87. Oh, we're going to be just a freaking smidgen short if I pull this. We're more than a smidgen. We're about, like 10 grand short. But whatevs. So we've got our BK going up again. I was thinking I could maybe drop him and upgrade him again. But that's okay. As soon as I get the dark up, I can go ahead and book him awake and then knock him down again, get him going to level 35. But there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, even though it was a little different than normal. If you guys did like the video, please make sure, smash that thumbs up button and show your support, and I will see you guys in the next one.